Hello, everybody. It's lucky week number 7 of our 10 weeks of receiving a fucking body process challenge. And I'm here with the amazing Susanator. That's a new name I gave her, so now you all know.
Thank you.
And that's among many things. She's such a phenomenal being, and so I'm so grateful that you're here with us today. Suzy is the specialty lead, the lead facilitator for Talk to the Animals, and also for Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider. And she's also the founder of one of my favorite not body processes. How she describes it is body process on steroids, ESSE. And that stands for Energetic Synthesis of Structural Embodiment. And it's just such a yummy, yummy process. So if you haven't had ESSE yet, or you don't know what ESSE is, get to an ESSE class. Go have a session with someone, because I remember the first time, I think you had come here to Denver and facilitated a class. I didn't know about the class, but someone had just taken the class with you, and they posted on Facebook that they were doing sessions, that they just took the class, and they were all excited. And I was like, "Ooh, that sounds really amazing. I want to try that." And it was just like, it was so different. It was the kindest, most nurturing thing, and I was just like, "Whoa, what was that?" And yeah, then I got to a class, and then finally just had another class with you, and it was like taking a completely different class. I was like, "Whoa," like, I already really loved ESSE, and I thought I had an idea about what it is and what it was. It was like the whole class changed. So,
Mm.
um that's the beauty of like consciousness, right? And these tools and these body processes. And so I'll let you talk about it some more, because I'm sure I could never do it as much justice as you
Well, thank you. I think you're doing great. So,
could.
um, it all sounds amazing. Well, the thing is, like, this is, I think this is one of my favorite things about Access is that there isn't anything written in stone. And I remember Gary talking about many, many, many years ago, he was offered to basically become part of like a TV production that was going to feature him, and they told him that he couldn't change his manuals and his program for 5 years. And he said, "What do you mean? I change everything literally in every class. What do you mean I can't change it for 5 years?" And he said, "No, thanks," because to him, that would have been the death of it, like, not being able to change something in 5 years or doing the same thing over and over for 5 years. I mean, he just was like, "Oh, I cannot do this." And I think that's really what I love about Access, that really there isn't any set thing. It's like, yeah, Access is about questions, and Gary and Dana are constantly finding new things that are going on with bodies too. And as the body classes change all the time because new processes come out, and some others are being replaced because the other process has an energy that covers this one. And so it keeps on moving forward. And I think that is really the driving force that I like about it all. And also, as you change, like me as a facilitator, I have changed so much from when I first started SE to now. It would be crazy if the class was still the same. I would see it as something is quote unquote wrong because, I mean, I change on a daily basis. And yes, there's a manual in the SE class, but it's really not about following a manual or following any kind of structure in that way. SE is also about letting the bodies talk to each other. And the more that you're willing to step out of the way and let the bodies really communicate, the more ease you're going to have with all of this. And you were saying like how you really had that sense of the kindness of it all, and I thought, oh, that's cool. I hadn't really heard anyone talk about that, but to me, one of the things is like, and I do poke and pot people in the class a lot, is a lot of people have decided any kind of change is painful, especially when it comes to your body. We do have a lot of pain in our bodies. Well, not everybody, but there are some people that have pain and they deal with pain on a daily basis. And they're often told, well, in order to get rid of the pain, you might have to go through more pain, or you have to take a pill for that, or it's never going to change, or you will be in pain for the rest of your life. And all the stuff that we kind of are being told when it comes to bodies, um, which a lot of those are not true. And to me, physical change with our body does not have to involve pain. And so to me, there has always been this possibility of change without that as a side effect. So thank you for also saying that, because yeah, I that would be one of my targets, is that, hey, you know what? We don't have to have more pain in order to have less pain.
Mm, yes. Oh my goodness. That's a whole loaded topic in and of itself, right? With any sort of
Totally.
change involving our body or not. It's like it seems like we at least are conditioned to make it so difficult and so painful, and then like get through the change and rejoice that we made it through all the difficulty and the pain, right? It's like a badge of honor. Ugh.
Exactly. Yep.
What else is possible beyond that? And like, so my new favorite sort of pattern interrupt with a couple of people who are really close to me is cornstarch. That they know to say that to me when I'm sort of like contracting or maybe not like relaxing and being as much space as I could be. And I don't know if you want to like share what that cornstarch is or what that means. And like I remind myself a lot now too. It's just
Mm,
like melt.
mm.
Relax. It doesn't have to be hard. And I don't know how much Susie's going to go into that, but get to
Well,
it, Essie.
yes, thank you. I mean, the cornstarch thing is actually something that I got from. I took a horse rolfing class a long time ago, and this guy used cornstarch to kind of demonstrate something. And I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. I'm going to start using that too, because it gives you such a visceral moment of, ah, because cornstarch has this really strange way. So when you mix cornstarch with water and you make it into a kind of a tough paste, what happens is if you start poking at it, like with your finger, if you start hitting at it, it's like a rock. It really has the surface of a rock. It's impenetrable. I mean, that's not true. You can dent it, but it takes a lot of force, and it's like you can use a lot of force, and it just gives you a tiny dent. But if you put your finger on it and you just be there, and you don't push, you just lay your finger on it, it sinks. It lets you sink. The finger sinks into the cornstarch and it gets completely immersed, and you get to the very bottom of the dish that the cornstarch is in. And it's fascinating. How is this possible? Like, how does this work? And Andrew actually uses a similar analogy. If you are on the beach, and all of you have been on the beach at some point in your life, and if you're standing on the sand and you trample the sand, it's also very hard and you don't get into the sand. But if you just stand there, all of a sudden, your feet start sinking into the sand. It's a very similar sensation that you can have there too. And it's not about figuring out why that is, but it's really more of an analogy of, if you're approaching a body with the idea of, hey, I'm going to make you change, you're wrong. You're not functioning properly. I know best. I know better. I know how, you need what you need to do to have a better life because I'm smarter. When you come at anything with that energy, automatically walls go up. And whether that's an energetic conversation just between bodies, or whether that's a physical and real conversation between people, if anybody comes to you and wants to tell you how to live your life, what do? You put barriers up. You don't want to know. I mean, hello, how many of you are parents, but also how many of you were children? Like, did you ever do what your parents wanted you to do? And your parents had, of course, the best, at heart, and they wanted you to, like, not suffer through the things they suffered through. So they would tell you what you should do because it's better and they know best. But, the moment anybody comes with that energy, you're like, mm-mm. And so, you know, the body does the same. It says, hey, no, do not touch me. Like, I do not wish you coming here with this energy of like, you know better than me. I know what is, what needs to happen for change to occur or whatever it is. So when you, in the second analogy of just being there, standing there in the sand or putting your finger on the cornstarch, you don't have a point of view. You don't have the point of view where you want to go with this. You don't have the point of view that you need to make it better. You don't have to have the point of view it needs to be fixed. You're just present. You're just there. You're just being a certain amount of space, we call it an access, but it's really kind of having that sense of calm, that sense of like room, really a lot of times when you're relaxing and taking a breath, it's like, oh, okay, creating that sense. You don't have an agenda. And that's really what it is. You don't have an agenda. And this is a real visceral way to show people when you don't have an agenda, the body will let you in and the body will guide you and the body will show you where you need to touch and with how much pressure, or if you need to move anything or just have your fingers there or just run an energy or whatever it might be, the body will guide you. And I think a lot of times, we forget that bodies can really talk to each other that way. And I know, for example, even in massage, sometimes like people have an agenda. I start on the shoulders, I go down the back, I do this, I do that. And how much of that is done from awareness, or is it really like paint by numbers as a massage, and how much does your body enjoy that? And some people are great, please. This is not about that. But you've all been by paint by numbers massages where you were like, oh, that wasn't very nurturing.
Right. Yeah, I love that too, because like one of the beautiful things that I have noticed anyway with like all of the access tools is there's this really beautiful like alignment with all of them. And it's all about like trusting what you know, not up here, right? Not what you think you know, but like what you truly know. Oops, I think Susie's frozen. Hopefully she's still here with us. I'm gonna keep talking and hopefully she's still here. Um, but it's trusting what you energetically know, like that gut feeling we've all had, right? Where you knew you shouldn't have done that thing before you did it and you did it anyways. And then afterward, you're like, dang it, I knew I shouldn't have done that, right? Or like we've gotten those chills up our spine or those tingles on our arms or whatever it might be. And we know our bodies are full of so much information. And if we would just follow the energy as we create and navigate our lives rather than trying to like think and figure it out all the time, we would have a greater level of ease with everything that we're creating and choosing. And our bodies are such a huge contribution to that, right? And we kind of need our bodies, right? If we're going to navigate around on this earth, if you don't have a body, there's not very much for you to enjoy, right? Food or, a hug or a beautiful movie or time out in nature, like if that requires our bodies, right? And so our bodies can be this magical gift that creates so much more joy, so much more peace, so much more ease in every area. And I remember one of the things that really, so we lost Susie, so hopefully she'll hop back on in a minute. Oh, there she goes. She's back. I figured you would hop back on. And she's frozen again. So she might be having some internet connection issues. So we'll just let her kind of like come in and out as she can. There you are. She's unfrozen. Yay! How does
Roll,
it get any
Texas.
always an adventure. Um, what I love about the ESSE body process in particular is it is kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that really kind, beautiful invitation in a different way to like show us and invite us to having that level of ease in every area of our lives and create with following the energy and create beyond the paint by numbers, not needing the roadmap, not needing all the information, not needing all the steps in the how to, but really tapping into like what we know. And so it's like this infusion of that awareness and like reminder of that knowing that you already have in your body and in your entire
You say that so beautifully.
life. Thank you. I hope I did it justice. It's just like sometimes some things just don't have any words. And I'm one of those people where I'm like, if I could get rid of words, I would, because they slow me down a lot.
Well, they also are always a definition of so, and the definition is so different for everybody. So it does become tricky because, I mean, how many times have we had conversations with someone where we thought we were really clear and what they heard was something completely different, and then they do or they act on what they thought they heard you say, and then you're going, why did you do that? And then they say, well, that's what you said. No, that's not what I said. So, words, like you say, it's a slow form of energetic communication. Energetic communication goes way faster, and words are often really not doing the thing justice at all, because it cannot be described. We have this beautiful saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and to me energy is worth 1,000 pictures, because, or even more. But you really, when you're trying to define something energetic, well, good luck. You can't, and we can talk around it as much as we want, but we will never really nail it down, because that's also the beauty about all of this. The body work in Access, or Access itself, asking questions and all that. The energy is what makes a difference, because even the same sentence can have a different meaning by the energy with which you are asking. If I say something like, wow, you're wearing a beautiful top, then that could be an acknowledgement. And if I say, wow, you're wearing a beautiful top, that could also be a judgment. And it's exactly the same words, but it's an energetic delivery that is coming with that makes the difference. So sometimes people will say, well, I said it this way, but what I meant was that. Well, yeah, maybe, but yeah. So I think there is a lot about the energy thing, that we're not trusting ourselves either in that. How much are we trying to really trust the words? And gosh, I used to be the worst with that. Gary would always say to me, stop listening to the words, but I so wanted to believe what people were saying instead of listening to the energy behind it.
Guilty. Yeah, and like starting to tap back into like really trusting what you do know energetically. Like that allows you to really be clear on, okay, what is really being communicated here? I mean, they even say there's arguments about the exact percentage, but most of communication, we'll go with that, is nonverbal, right?
Mhm.
it's body language and energy, which I think sometimes we don't have enough of a conversation or a reminder or an awareness about. Like really, the energy behind it or underneath it is more potent, um, and can show you so much more than anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. So, um, when you were here, and we had that last ESSE class, there ended up being like a conversation around animals and like the gift that animals can also be energetically. And I know like animals really love the body processes. They'll like come often and just hop on the table or be under the table and receive while the bodies are gifting and receiving the processes. And they can be a huge contribution to healing and change as well. And who better to have that conversation with than you, Suzy? So she's like, that was a loaded statement. Where do I go with this? There's so many. We could be here for hours. You really could. And I know we don't necessarily have the quote unquote time for that. And if you could say anything sort of really quick about animals and even what they can show us and invite us to with our energetic awareness, that would be really amazing.
Well, one thing about animals that is so fascinating, I think, to all of us is that they really don't function from judgment. They don't run around and judge us for what we look like, what we smell like, what we do. Um, Animals really are, excuse me, in that regard, they are really so different than we. They function in such a different way. But with bodies too, and that conversation, honestly, yes, it could be hours. And I really don't even get that we all already know what is possible when it comes to bodies and the way they contribute to each other. Because animals, when you're not feeling well, quote unquote, a lot of times an animal will come and sit right next to you, or will lay on top of you, or will be in your vicinity. And it's occurred to all of you. I know that anybody who's been around an animal has had this occur where, you're not doing great, and all of a sudden your dog will just be right there putting their head on your lap or whatever it might be, just being that contribution. And they are perceiving that. They know, okay, something is up and I can be a contribution here. Hi. I'm here for you. And but also they will do that too when you have something going on in your body that is not emotional, that's a physical thing. They will start to contribute to your body, they will start to be there for you. And it's really fascinating because they don't have any barriers up, and they don't have a point of view about it. And they're not afraid to get sick, which is also interesting. They don't care if they basically are starting to show a disease that maybe you have. If they start showing it, they don't care about that either. And I might be opening a can of worms here, but a lot of times people will actually say like, hey, I don't want my dog to be getting sick because I'm sick. So people actually are aware of that. People know that their animals will do that for them. But the main thing is we don't really acknowledge each other's bodies for that capacity. And so we try to stop it. And you cannot really stop this energetic exchange between bodies. It's a thing where, again, if you start building barriers up with that, it won't stop that energetic communication. It just will put it into a wrongness. And so when you put it into it's wrong, that's when, energetically speaking, things get sticky. And that's when it can have an effect on the body in a totally different way. If there was absolutely no point of view about it on all sides, then, and you knew that you energetically were willing to contribute, um, you wouldn't get stuck with it, your animal wouldn't get stuck with it, and there could really truly be change possible. But we are still in a lot of judgment when it comes to bodies. And so I do get there is still so much more that we can actually receive, not just from animals, but really also everybody has knowledge about something, and my sense is that all our bodies could communicate and, you know, contribute to each other in a much, much, much grander scale than we're doing it now. And I'm looking forward to really seeing what else is possible with that. Because yeah, we walk around thinking we're in this bubble, but really we're not. um, you know.
Yes, everything's connected. We're all connected for sure. The bubble is not real. You can pretend like it is, but it's not. Awesome. So I know you have a couple of ST classes coming up. Would you like to tell us about this?
Well, one of the things I want to say is, so right now ESSE is being facilitated only by two people. So it's myself, and then Dr. Andrew Gardella is the other ESSE facilitator. And we do have actually an advanced ESSE class that allows you then to become an intro facilitator. And we do actually have a few intro facilitators around the world. And of course, with COVID, all that came to a screeching halt because ESSE is a hands-on people modality. It's not an online thing, so it couldn't be moved to online. So there was a big pause here, but people are starting to come out again and touch each other and be together and all that everywhere in the world. And so the ESSE facilitators are also starting to put on classes again. So, and also, you might be surprised, but there are many, many people around the world that have taken an ESSE class. So if you're looking for an ESSE session, there might actually even be somebody in your area that offers that because they have done it and they have the energy and they will offer sessions. So if you want to try it out, there might be a chance for you to play with that. But yes, if you want to find more about ESSE classes, please go to essehorseandbody.com. So that is so ESSE, so ESSE, horse and body, and the word and is written out.com. You can find the classes that are coming up on there, and basically that is where you get a little bit more information. You can watch a video and it will direct you to the classes that are posted. So I think that's the best way to go about this.
We'll make sure to pop that link in the chat when we get off the live. Yeah, and like the beautiful thing about these access tools is it's grown so much. So if you don't know, Suzy is what I like to affectionately call an Access OG, which means original gangster. So she's an original gangster of Access consciousness.
I love
it. She's been around for a minute and like just watch things morph and change. And yeah, so it's really cool because Access is now in over 180 countries around the world. There are so many practitioners and facilitators, and it's just growing more and more every day. Like so many people are seeking these tools. And if you have not heard of Access Consciousness before this, or you're not really that familiar with it, you can find out more at accessconsciousness.com. Suzy also made a reference earlier to POC and POD. What that is it's called the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, and you can go to theclearingstatement.com to learn more about that and hear a beautiful like audio explanation of it. And it's really just kind of like an energetic zapper. It just changes the energy. Something's coming up for you. It's really kind of just like, and it just kind of dissipates it and changes it and invites you to that space that we've been talking about, that peace, that relaxation. And also what's really cool about that is that whole notion of ask and receive that often really gets bastardized, and people sometimes don't believe it's real. It is real. The thing is, like, the universe can only give to us what matches what our beliefs are, what our points of view are, what our decisions and conclusions about what's even possible are. And so when we are able to ask a question from space rather than maybe that stressed out point of view we might be having when we would ordinarily ask a question. Then from space, something else that was already available that couldn't come in before because we were blocking it, then it can actually come in and we can receive infinite possibilities from the universe. So find the tools on the website, and you can find a practitioner. And in order to get to an ESSE class, you do need to have bars and the foundation. Those are prereqs, and there again are tons of facilitators and practitioners around the world for you to experience those sessions and get to those classes as well. So
Yay.
yeah. Anything you want to say, Suzy, before we go?
Say that one more time. I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Any last thing you'd like to say before we go?
Just have fun. Have fun. It's like, please have fun.
Yes, please. Oh my gosh. So serious and stressed out all the time, right? And it's easy to do with, like, especially all the things going on the planet right now and the distractions in the media and all that. So thank you so much for leaving us with that. Please have fun. Please be happy. It's a gift to the planet and you and all the bodies on the planet as well.
Totally.
Facebook user says have fun. I'm sorry, I don't see your name. But yes, let's all have more fun. And I hope you had fun playing with us on the live today. And thank you so much again, Suzy, for being here.
Oh, and thanks for having me. What a delightful conversation. And yay, it's so good to see you.
You too. You too. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.